A chilly wind swept through the busy city street as lunchtime crowds bustled past the sidewalk cafe. At one corner table, a millionaire in a tailored suit sat alone, tapping at his phone with practiced detachment. Plates of steaming gourmet food sat before him, untouched for the moment, as he scanned his emails. Amid the swirl of movement and chatter, a young girl crept forward, barely more than a shadow. Her clothes were tattered and streaked with grime, her hair matted from nights on the street. She hugged her thin arms around herself against the cold. With hesitant steps she approached the table, eyes darting at the judging stares of passing strangers. Heart pounding, she stopped just shy of the man's table and opened her mouth, but nothing came out at first. Her voice cracked when she finally spoke, so quiet it was almost lost in the noise. "Can I eat with you?" The words fell like a stone in a still pond. Conversations died around them. Silverware scraped to a halt. Patrons turned their heads, some in pity, most in disdain. A waiter, disapproving, moved closer as if ready to chase her away. The silence pressed in, thick with unspoken judgment. The millionaire didn't react at first. He blinked, surprised, his phone lowering slowly. He looked at her, really looked. He saw the fear in her eyes, the tremble in her lips, the raw hope that hadn't quite died yet. Around them, the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for him to scoff, to dismiss her, to do what everyone expected. Instead, his gaze softened. Memories flashed unbidden in his mind of hungry nights from a past he never spoke of. He set his phone aside deliberately. He leaned back in his chair, studying this brave, broken child who dared ask for something so simple yet so impossible in the world they lived in. And for a moment, everything else, the noise, the wealth, the cold detachment, fell away. Because her question wasn't just about food. It was a plea to be seen. In a world where most would ignore or shoo her away, her words hung in the air, raw and vulnerable. And he realized he could not, would not, turn away. The silence in the cafe stretched painfully as the homeless girl stood there, head bowed, waiting for the inevitable rejection. The waiter stepped forward, voice clipped and firm, trying to salvage the cafe's polished image. "Sir, she can't be here," he insisted, glancing around nervously at the well-dressed customers who now watched with poorly concealed disdain. A ripple of disapproval ran through the tables. Diners shook their heads, whispered behind napkins. Someone muttered about ruining their meal. Another snorted in disgust, eyes narrowed at the girl's filthy clothes and bare feet. The tension pressed in from every side, sharp and suffocating. But the millionaire didn't look away. Instead, he studied her more carefully. He saw the sunken hollows of her cheeks, the grime caked under her nails, the way her whole body trembled. Not just from the cold, but from the raw fear of being rejected yet again. For a moment, his vision blurred as an old memory surged. He was small again, barefoot in an alley, stomach twisted with hunger, watching people pass him by like he was nothing. He swallowed hard against the lump in his throat, the memory leaving an ache he hadn't felt in years. He took a deep breath, voice steady but low. "Sit down," he said to her. The waiter blinked in confusion, clearly offended. "Sir, please." The millionaire's eyes snapped up, cold and commanding now. "I said bring us your best meals. Both of us." The waiter froze. Around them, the disapproving whispers died away, replaced by stunned silence. Chairs creaked as diners shifted uncomfortably, trying to look away but unable to stop watching. The homeless girl's eyes widened, disbelief warring with hope. She hesitated, then slowly pulled out the chair opposite him, clutching the edge of the table as if it might vanish at any moment. The millionaire leaned back and exhaled, trying to calm the pounding in his chest. He ignored the shocked faces, the tension crackling in the air. This wasn't about them anymore. What happened next silenced even the harshest whispers around them. Because in that moment, he decided he wouldn't be like everyone else who turned away. He would see her. And he would feed her. The food arrived on heavy porcelain plates, steaming and fragrant, filling the space between them with warmth that felt almost foreign. The waiter set them down stiffly and retreated without a word, eyes flicking between the two in confusion and lingering judgment. The girl stared at the food like it was a dream she might wake from. Her fingers shook as she picked up the fork. At first she nibbled cautiously, eyes darting around as if someone might snatch it away. But hunger soon won out. She shoveled the food in desperately, chewing and swallowing with audible gulps. He reached out a hand, voice gentle but firm. "Hey, slow down," he said softly. "There's plenty. It's not going anywhere." She froze, fork halfway to her mouth, eyes wide. Then she nodded, embarrassed, setting the utensil down and wiping her mouth with the back of her grimy hand. He offered her the linen napkin instead, and she accepted it like it was made of gold. For a moment they sat in silence, the busy city hum all around them but forgotten. He watched her, really watched her, taking in the hollows under her eyes, the bruises on her thin arms, the way she hunched her shoulders like she expected to be struck. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She swallowed hard. "Lily." "Lily," he repeated, rolling the word on his tongue like a promise. "I'm Michael." She nodded, tears starting to prick at the corners of her eyes. He waited. Didn't push. Just sat there, open, listening. Finally, in a voice so small he had to lean in to hear it, she spoke. "My parents died in a car crash. They put me in foster homes but I ran. It was worse there." She paused, voice breaking. "I've been on the streets for a year." Michael's vision blurred. He felt the tears threatening and didn't fight them. He let her see it. Lily wiped at her own eyes, cheeks flushed. She whispered, almost to herself, "I just wanted to remember what eating with someone feels like." Michael swallowed hard, breath catching in his throat. For the first time in years, someone listened. Really listened. And in that quiet space between them, something fragile and beautiful took root: hope. The plates were scraped clean, the last crumbs gone, and the sun was dipping low behind the tall buildings, casting long golden beams across the cafe. The city was beginning to slow for the evening rush, but at their table, time seemed to have stopped entirely. Michael laid a stack of bills on the check without glancing at the total. He rose slowly from his chair, smoothing his suit jacket, and looked down at Lily, who was watching him with wide, uncertain eyes. He extended his hand to her. His voice was calm, but full of quiet determination. "You're coming with me. Let's get you cleaned up." Instantly, she recoiled, chair legs scraping back with a screech. Her face twisted in fear. "No. No, you'll hurt me. Everyone does." Her voice cracked, shrill with panic. The cafe fell silent again, every head turning to witness this raw moment. Michael's chest tightened. He felt the sting of tears threatening once more. He didn't stay standing over her. Instead, he slowly lowered himself to one knee on the cold pavement, his expensive trousers forgotten. His voice broke as he spoke. "I won't," he whispered, shaking his head. "I promise you, Lily. I've been where you are. I know what it feels like to have nowhere to go and no one to trust. Please, let me help." She blinked rapidly, tears spilling down dirty cheeks, lip quivering. Her eyes searched his face for the lie she was sure she'd find, but she didn't. Behind them, the waiter who had scolded her earlier now stood frozen, eyes glassy. He wiped at them quickly, trying to hide it. The hum of the city seemed softer, the judgment gone, replaced by something new, understanding. Michael slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He called his driver, voice steady. "We're going shopping. Clothes, shoes, everything she needs. Then take us to the Hilton. I want the best room for her tonight." He hung up and met Lily's gaze once more. "And tomorrow," he added, voice firm, "I'm calling social workers. The good ones. We're going to make sure you're safe." Her sob broke loose then, unrestrained and childlike, and she stumbled forward into his arms. It wasn't just a meal. It was the start of a new life. The grand hotel lobby glowed with warm light, marble floors reflecting crystal chandeliers overhead. Guests came and went, their chatter and laughter a soft backdrop. Near the entrance, Michael stood waiting, watching the elevator doors anxiously. They opened with a gentle chime, and Lily stepped out slowly. Gone were the rags and grime. She wore new jeans and a soft sweater, her hair freshly washed and brushed, falling around her shoulders in clean, dark waves. She hesitated on the threshold, scanning the opulent space with wide eyes. When she spotted him, she gave a shy, uncertain smile and hurried over, her new shoes clicking quietly on the polished floor. She reached out, small fingers curling around his large, strong hand. He squeezed back gently, reassuringly. Tears streamed freely down her freshly washed face as she choked out the words. "Thank you," she whispered, voice trembling. "No one's ever seen me before." "Not really." Michael's eyes glistened as he looked down at her, seeing not a homeless girl but a child who deserved love, safety, and a future. His voice was low and sure. "You're not invisible. Not anymore." Around them, staff and guests paused, watching this unlikely pair. No one spoke, but some wiped at their eyes, moved by the raw honesty of the moment. The doorman stood straighter, a soft smile on his face. They didn't hurry. Hand in hand, they began to walk toward the doors, the world outside bathed in the last warm light of dusk. Lily leaned into his side, finally allowing herself to believe in safety, in belonging. As they stepped out onto the quiet street, the glow of streetlights casting soft halos around them, the narrator's voice lingered. He didn't just feed her. He restored her hope. And in doing so, he rediscovered his own humanity. The image of them walking side by side, her tiny hand gripping his arm protectively at her shoulder, faded into the night, a promise of a brighter tomorrow. A promise that one act of kindness could change everything.